I want you to remember the one man who beat you.
If I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman!
And here we go.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another
hi there.
episode of the Batman Who Pod, the Phantom Batman, where this is a Batman show about nothing but Batman. I'm one of your hosts here, Matthew Veneri, aka the $1,000 Bruce Wayne, because on a great day, a great week, I may have $1,000 in the bank and could buy a couple Batman collectibles. And across from me is my co-host, fellow Bat fanatic, illustrator, perpetrator, inspirator, whatever that is, Chris Rob Ripsky.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you?
Have you ever danced with the devil?
Are we having fun today? Are we gonna party? What are
Party with her. We're gonna party with her.
Party with her pants off. Oh my god.
Oh, bats.
no, Robin?
You complete me.
You complete me.
You complete me. All right. Anyway.
Imagine
so
like the next half hour is just this shit.
Yeah. It'd be the longest podcast, but it would just be a bunch of banter of
What are these
Joker.
guys doing?
We're just having a good time over here. All right. Well, we have a fun-filled episode today for all of our 11 subscribers and counting.
Good old 11. Just like
Stranger Things in celebration, we figured, hey, why not try to get 11 subscribers this month?
It worked out perfect.
It worked out perfect.
You know?
So one of the greatest text messages I've ever received in my life from Rob. 11 subscribers.
Yeah.
Okay. We're counting. No, we're doing good, but appreciate everybody. So we're going to get right into it with our first segment, as always, which is This Week in Batman. And Rob, we once again have some upsetting news that we have to talk about. One of the staples in the Batman stories, Mr. Tim Sales has passed.
Yeah, I didn't want this podcast to be a goddamn obituary, but it's turning into that pretty fast. So, last time we talked, it was Neil Adams. Neil Adams. Last time we talked, it was Neil Adams. Now it's Tim Sales. I'm scared what next week is going to bring us. So yeah, it's really hard to hear Tim passing, and he's pretty young. Wasn't he like not even 60 yet?
66 he was.
Oh, he was 66.
Yeah, he was 66. He was born May 1st of 1956 and then died June 16th. So
he was
he had some notable work,
yeah, he was a unique artist to say the least. Like he wasn't a traditionalist. He just kind of did his own style, which we kind of need more of, like your own style artists. Like I love Jim Lee to death, but he just seems like he's a staple of just traditional art. That's just my opinion, of course. I love the guy though. But Tim, just you can tell right away anything you see online of his, because it was very exaggerated. Like his Joker, right? His Joker in The Long Halloween, that mouth and those teeth were just nuts. They were like, his mouth was like that long, and his teeth were like that long. So
Long Halloween was probably, at least for me, that was his most notable works. That and I think you had mentioned Dark Victory too, which I really enjoy. But yeah, go ahead.
That was off air. So his three main stories are Long Halloween, Haunted Night, and like you just mentioned, Dark Victory. They're all available in omnibus form or absolute if you collect absolutes. And but that was a staple pretty much They now sell on Amazon mini versions, mini absolutes of his stuff, so you can go ahead and snag those. But it's been a while since I read Haunted Night and Dark Victory, but man, it's like everywhere we go, even the past 2 years, Long Halloween is just, the story, right? It's the ultimate investigation crime story.
Well, and it heavily influenced the Batman, as
Mhm.
we've talked about before. So, which makes it at this point with Tim leaving us is even crazier. It's like, oh, okay, he got to kind of see the Long Halloween live, you could say, and hopefully he was able to, and he enjoyed it, and he was able to see his work through that movie. So
Yeah, just sucks, man. We just keep losing people left and right, and I really appreciate his stuff and just what he brought to the table as far as uh, expressing your artist side of the character. Because when you read, when you are a visual standpoint, when you're reading Batman, you kind of want it dark and brooding, and he kind of really brought that. Long, exaggerated, the cape, the cowl. It was just unique. I'm kind of rambling on here, but
well, it had a presence to it. It had a
yeah.
unique presence to it. It stood out. You know, and like you said, he was a unique artist, and much like Neil, when we talked about it, you could always tell where his art was. Like you knew, I like, no, that's a Neil, that's a Tim Sales.
Mhm.
And that's like you said, that's important. We need more of that. So, um, Tim, R.I.P. You will be missed, but yeah, we appreciate all your work. Moving on, though, you had shared with me earlier in the week a very interesting interview that happened with Mr. Christian Bale. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with Christian Bale. He did play Batman before, um,
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah,
once or twice, maybe a third
maybe three
time,
times.
maybe a fourth. Right? Is that what we're hearing here?
Well, according to this interview, so it was Christian Bale's in the latest Thor movie as the villain. What's the villain's name?
No idea.
Oh, that was good. I appreciate that. No, but he plays the villain in the latest Thor movie,
Oh
and
yeah, Gore, right?
Gore. Yeah, and I think he looks totally different in the comics than he does on screen. As far as I know, I think he's a big buff dude, and now he kind of plays like him in the fighter.
Well, he's like all gray in this movie, right? He's like
Yeah.
he looks rock almost. Not the rock,
Hmm.
but like a rock. Like a
Yeah.
rock.
Oh
Oh, like a
man,
rock.
there you go.
Anyway, so
So in this interview,
So the last thing for you, I gotta ask, Spider-Man actors are coming back. Patrick Stewart played Xavier again. Keaton's doing Batman again. Does it ever, now that you're back in a comic book franchise with this experience, does it ever feel tempting to put on the cape and cowl again one more time? Or do they even reach out to you?
No. Nobody reaches out to me, or they keep me like a mushroom, keep me in the dark, and feed me shit. But for me, that would be a matter of Chris Nolan. If he ever decided to do it again, and if he chose to come my way again, then yeah, I would consider it, because that was always our pact between each other. Is we would just stick to. We said we would only ever make 3, and then I said to myself, and I'll only ever make it with Chris.
okay. Awesome. But at the same time, it's just like it's kind of too late, don't you think? I mean,
oh, absolutely, yeah. I
yeah.
wouldn't want it either way. You know, what story can you tell?
But yeah, exactly. I mean, you could
So
do a love story between him and Catwoman in like Italy.
yeah,
It's
it'd be
just like a romantic comedy.
yeah. I literally don't know what else you would do. So it's cool to tease that, but again, the only thing that comes to mind, I was thinking about the other day, was like, how The Dark Knight Returns ends and he's training all those people in his cave.
Oh, okay.
He would
Yeah.
do something silly like that
Yeah.
because he says himself that, I'm just a symbol. But no, that'd just be off the walls. You can always bring back Gordon Joseph Lovitz and have him be Batman, whatever the route
Yeah,
that
he
was
was.
going.
Remember, he was the Robin. They were like, "Oh, Robin, yeah." And then, because I mean, he
Yeah.
found the cave, right, with everything inside it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
No, if they were going to
Joseph
continue
Gordon-Levitt
that,
is gonna come in and play Batman, which would be weird.
if they continued that story, do you think they're going like him being Batman? It had to, right?
It had to be
That's
because at
the
that
open
point,
ending that they had, right?
yeah, at that point, Batman was retiring. So, yeah, I guess he would take up the mantle, and which is, I mean, it's interesting. I guess we never really had that. You have somebody nicknamed Robin, you automatically think he's going to be the sidekick, but he comes in and I mean, I don't know where he'd get trained. If Batman's overseas, and maybe via Zoom. Like, all right, now here we're going to work on punches today.
All right, now we're going to do karate chops. All right, and back, and one, and two. But it's funny that even you and I wouldn't want it to happen. But what I always kind of see is a lot of directors, they'll have the big film and they'll do the artist films, and they always kind of circle back into the well and go what worked for them. So you never know. We've seen stranger things happen, no pun intended.
No pun intended there.
You got Clerks 3 coming out in October now, so I mean anything's possible.
Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun is that's just a diamond in the rough. I mean, what other movie comes back after 36 years and has that success?
And is that amazing? Yeah, an epic. Like,
Yeah.
Man, did not see that coming.
Me either. And I'm glad that they actually held it off for 2 years or 10 years, how long it fucking was.
Yeah.
They held that movie back for what, 5 years?
Right. And that was the thing. Circling back to the Batman, remember, like, we were freaked out when they first started to pull it, and like to live like, oh geez, this is gonna be bad. But we were wrong. So I mean, anyway, yeah, no, that's interesting. The return of Nolan.
So here's the thing to think about, though. We live in a time where Batman is like the least made movie almost this year, because we got Doctor Strange made more than that, and Top Gun made more than a Marvel movie. It's a unique year.
Yeah, that's insane. But again, what was that 45-day window on HBO Max? I think a lot of people held off.
Yeah, probably. That's true. Shouldn't they kind of screwed themselves with that one?
Yeah, I think if they would have held out in theaters, it would have made more. Obviously, it would have made more money because more people would have seen it. But I mean, I don't know what the numbers were for HBO Max for that movie alone. Because I know they do measure that quite a bit. So, but anyway, moving on here. You have some unfortunate news for us, right? Regarding your trip to San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Yeah, so I was just on the phone scrolling and just happened to read, oh, DC drops out of San Diego Comic-Con. I'm like, oh, wow, really? I mean, you guys been gone for 2-3 years and you don't even want to show up. I'm like, that's kind of shitty. But as I kind of thought about it moments later, I'm like, I wonder if they're dropping out because of this Ezra Miller shit and his crazy antics that are going on right now. Because you kind of think that everybody's just going to be asking about him, probably harassing them at the con, baby. That's the only thing I can think of. Why else would you drop out of the biggest con of the year? And everyone's wanting to come back and, be a part of this event again. So that's the only thing I can take away from it, is that the Ezra Miller controversy.
Yeah, because
I
I
guess.
would I can't think that they don't have enough stuff to make a booth. You know what I mean? Like they don't have enough content to have a booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strange, especially because they actually usually have one of the biggest presence at C2E2. You know,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, they have a huge booth and they do giveaways. They have artists that come through there. I mean, obviously no actors or anything, but more of the comic based stuff. And I mean, let alone for that, I don't know why you'd want to drop out of San Diego Comic Con. I mean, is it going to be smaller this year than normal? Do you know, based on what you're reading?
I
Or
was looking at the map and it seems like a similar setup from 3 years ago. So seems
all right,
the
well,
same.
I mean, we're excited to cover that though, which you're going to be at, so that'll be good for us.
2 weeks.
Um, you have some more information regarding San Diego Comic Con, though, correct? With CGC grading.
Yeah, I was just all these articles are coming out regarding what's going to be there, and I just happened to see that CGC is actually going to be there, and they had the artists lined up of who you can actually submit books for. So what you got to do is you got to go on cgc.com, apparently make an account. I think it's probably does it. I think there's like a fee, right? Like $100 just to even join. But so they had like names, right? Like Frank Miller's right on the top. Then you have other DC artists, or not DC. Take that back. Sorry, just
Comic artists.
big comic book artists. And then I looked down like 5 rows down. I just happened to catch my eye, Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder together. Like, fuck. Okay. So what I did is I went on eBay, tried to find the most ration person I can find that was selling Batman 6 of the Court of Owls line, our favorite cover. So I snagged that for like $100. Other people are selling that shit for like hundreds of dollars. And it looks to be in good near mint condition. Anyway, I bought that just so I'm gonna submit that for the CGC grading, both their signatures in a case. We'll see what the grade is. Hopefully it's an 8. You always shoot for 8 or higher, but since it came out 13, 15 years ago already, we'll see what happens. But still, that should be pretty exciting. Have both those guys signed, that cover, in a CGC grading behind plastic. So
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, awesome. Good. And we are starting something a little fresh and exciting here, Rob. We are going to rank our Batman movies. Now, let's make it clear, it's Batman films that were released in theater. We will perhaps one day go ahead and do home video releases integrated with this too, which would make the list extremely long. But we're going to cover the big guys for now. And then I think this is something we revisit every time maybe there's a new film. So when the Batman 2 comes out or Lego Batman 2 comes out or whatever, we can fit them in there and see how that changes the scope of things. But I say what we're going to do is each of us is going to rank our movies and how we believe that they should be ranked. Then we're going to discuss the differences between our movies and our ranks. And then we can see the end there is going to be interesting because we're going to see if we can agree on a combined list, which I don't think we can, but we're going to try. So Rob, why don't you go ahead and start us off and tell us your 12 Batman films and their ranks, starting with number 12, unless we want to just spoil everything and just give people number 1 and then wait for the last one.
Absolutely not. Who wants to do that? All right, so this goes as number 12 because everyone's going to shoot me for this, but I haven't seen this. Lego Batman.
Oh, that's great.
I just never got around to that movie. I just kind of like, I don't want to, just like, I like Sonic, but Sonic 2 was just too goddamn kiddish. So that's how I feel like a movie like this would be. So it just went right over the radar for me.
Well, what's great is you're making content for the show for next time, because we have on next episode of the Batman Who Pod, Rob's review of Lego Batman. So
in-depth
review featuring Johnny Depp and Rob. Anyway, so go ahead. Lego Batman number 12, great film.
So let's see. Let's make sure I got 12 here. 12, 11, 2, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay, there's 12. Okay. All right. Are you ready for number 11? This is number 11 because we have 11 subscribers.
Stranger Things.
Yes, correct. No, it's actually Batman and Robin.
Okay.
That was actually dead last until you mentioned Lego Batman.
So it's funny. Our list so far is very close.
So, of course, I don't think I've watched that movie since I was a kid, and I have no desire to go back to watch it. I own it with the 4K set just because it came with the set.
Right.
But it's just so over the top. And like they said, when they were making that movie, it was only made because for toys. They got a toy contract, and that was more of their prerogative than actually making a movie.
Yeah, the driving point was to sell merchandise.
Yes. So even as a kid, like the intro, I was like, that's a little weird. Anyway, I digress. So that was 11. I think your favorite movie is the next one. It's Batman vs Superman.
I knew it was going to be low. I knew it was going to be low on your list.
So a movie where 8 storylines are happening at once, and there's a guy spinning plates with 8 storylines like this, and you came and focus on one story going on. You're just looking at the other plates spinning. There's no resolution to the film.
Yes, there is. It's called Martha.
Yeah, $250 million riding on 2 men with the same mother's name. And that's what it all came down to. And then, they were going to kill each other, but since their mothers got the same last name or first name, sorry.
Martha.
Let's just, just come together and not fighting anymore. So, oh boy, what a movie. The fighting scene was probably the best part of the movie. I think I've heard someone say, I think even Kevin Smith said, and even his opinion, his opinion is kind of 50-50 with me all the time, but he made a good point saying, I think when Snyder made that movie, all he did was know that Batman and Superman fight in The Dark Knight Returns, and the rest is just, he didn't know what happens in that book, which I kind of agree. I like Henry Cavill as Superman, but he's just they're both kind of crybabies in this movie. And anyway, I move on. So the next in the list, because I haven't watched this nearly as much, and it's the only reason why, is 66 Batman. It's been a good decade or so since I watched it. Doesn't really have that much watchability to me, so it's kind of like compared to the other films, right? It's kind of on the low list for me. All right, moving on. The Batman is all the way down here. Right? Now, making this list, right? It's like you think of Batman movies, you're like, these are a lot of my favorite movies, until you have to fucking number them in order. Then you're like, you kind of figure out about yourself. Oh, okay, well maybe I don't like it as much as this one. So we got the Batman down here. Next, so 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So 7 is Forever. One of my favorite childhood movies. I actually went to go watch it back with 33-year-old eyes last weekend. And man, that movie is choppy as shit.
Yep.
Very choppy. You know, it's a big departure from the Tim Burton movies, of course. It's very colorful and over the top. Not as much as Batman and Robin, no. But the thing that bugs me about that movie, is the whole theme of the movie isn't really expressed. Okay, so like he has one bad night. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna be Batman anymore. Okay.
We talked about that before.
It wasn't even
remember?
that bad. It's just because Robin followed him. Yeah. You're right. That's been beat to death. But here's the thing: is, and I don't know if you know this, but in the Blu-ray features, there's a deleted scenes portion, and they actually have a point where where Bruce goes to the Batcave, and he's having like a come to Jesus moment of why he should be Batman, and like he's pondering these thoughts, and they actually have a huge life-size like man bat in the cave, and he's going face to face looking at this big man bat.
Master Bruce, son, you gave up being Batman to save Dick Grayson. But perhaps you also gave him up because you never faced why you became him in the first place.
What's in there? I remember something chasing me. My nightmare.
Your nightmares are there. And until you face them, I fear you will spend your life fleeing them.
Not my fault.
Master Bruce.
I'm Batman, Alfred. I'm Batman.
But in this movie, he says he's not Batman, and then like the next scene he's like, okay, I'm gonna be Batman and I'm gonna have a partner. There's no actual like deciding, weighing his options, right? It's just
Right.
kind of like, okay, my girlfriend, I guess, is gone. I'm gonna be Batman again. So yeah, choppy movie. It's a guilty pleasure movie, and we'll leave it at that. Number 6, Dark Knight Rises. Love the movie so much. It's got a good resolution. I love the open ending. You know, you can take it as you will. Did he die? Did he not die? I like to think that he's not dead. And Alfred did see him at the end. I think we both said that we would like him more in the cowl in the movie, which more people did, but I really thought that that first hour is a good build up to have him be back in the cowl, because if he's back in the cowl in the first 15 minutes, it's just, it wouldn't serve its purpose. You had to really mount the tension and have a purpose for him becoming Batman again. So next, geez, I probably effed this up. Okay, that was 5. I don't know what happened there. Apologize. So number 4, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
It's all good,
I
man.
gotta quit drinking in the morning.
Woo!
Whee! So number 4 is Mask of the Phantasm. Awesome movie. Even as a kid, when I went to go see that in theaters. Like that's like kind of where it all like became real to me. Like, all right, so I'm in the theaters and I'm watching a feature film of a cartoon show that I watch on TV, and like the budget, you can tell the budget was way better. It was more cinematic. It's just, it's for me personally, it took the whole premise and it just made it more real to me. Like this is the real deal right here. I love Mark Hamill as a Joker in there. It's probably maybe my favorite performance by him in that movie. So good. And you know, it had a female antagonist, which back then, you know, with purpose and you know, without, you know, feminism shoved down your throat, you know, and all the woke stuff going on now. You actually, you know, I can get behind a female character and the reasons behind her motivation, and I dig it. You know, you would never suspect that brooding phantasm character was a woman.
Nope.
And I think that it's a short movie, 90 minutes maybe, and very well made movie. So now we get to the top 3. I think we kind of know what's happening here. So number 3, what do you think?
89.
Wow, I just realized what I forgot. Okay, so we're gonna backtrack here, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck.
Folks, we are live.
All right, so number 4.
Things don't always go as planned.
We are live. This is live action right here. Wow. Okay, so number 4 is Batman Returns. First movie I seen in theaters. I remember seeing in theaters that opening scene, man. I was like 3 years old. It just kind of fucked me up.
I was gonna say,
like,
yeah, that opening scene is, yeah.
I just remember vividly just me as a kid, and then like a kid getting thrown off the bridge. It's like, holy shit. And so yeah. Do you remember what your first movie was you remember seeing in theaters?
That was 89.
Oh, 89. Cool.
Yep.
Cool movie, very dark. A lot of people have a problem with it because it's too dark, which I just think is silly, because the whole Batman anthology is dark. You know, why wouldn't you not be dark? I think it's still the best Catwoman, my personal opinion. I love Anne Hathaway, but it's just, and you know, the latest one, latest Catwoman is to me. But yeah, in return, she was just, and you know, here's another thing. Let me say real fast is that no Batman movie so far has been 100% on the nose of their origins correct.
No, they always put their own spin on it.
Yeah, because in this one she dies and cats revive her back to life.
Yeah.
And then Penguin is raised by, you know, in the sewer, which is not
Penguins.
the actual thing. Penguins, yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Not one movie so far has been 100% accurate. Just something to say. So I enjoyed that movie. I actually enjoy, as I got older, I actually enjoyed that cowl more than the 89 cowl. It's just more refined. I like
You
the
like the
detail in the
suit.
face better.
Yeah, you've said that. You like the suit overall better in Returns.
Mhm. Maybe not the RoboCop ab area. That's maybe that's kind of where it loses me. But the logo is the actual comic book logo. And it's just more like 89 cowl's kind of looks like it's too big for his body, or the cowl's too big for his body or whatever. Not saying that I don't like it. It's just I prefer this one more. Moving on, top three. Bing, bing, bing. It's gonna be 89, Batman 89. Staple as a kid. Watched that till I wore out the VHS. Jack Nicholson is my opinion is still my favorite Joker. I know that's really controversial to say. It's always really, actually, if I'm being honest, it's between him and Hamill. A lot of people always go to Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's between Nicholson and Hamill to me. And people say,
Well, Hamill's not a live action.
well, I get that, but it's the Joker still. So, yeah, just and he's the most on-screen comic book accurate so far. You know, I love Heath to death, but it's not comic book accurate. We're not even going to mention Jared Leto. And but they went with the Killing Joke, fall into the acid, and
Yeah.
I actually read that like Tim Burton wasn't even that much of a comic book guy, but he did read the Killing Joke to get inspired to write Batman 89. So Keaton grade Batman, very dark and brooding. I always laugh at those movies kind of though, because every time he turns, he's gotta go like this.
Yeah, always the cowl issue, which they bring up in the Dark Knight trilogy. So you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. But classic. Just this is one of the things that actually got me on this road that we're on right here talking. So number two, I wonder what the top two are. Can you guess?
Begins in TDK.
You got it. So number two, and
Begins.
these are always kind of really close. So number two is Begins, and number one has to be The Dark Knight. Has to be. I get kind of pissed because people don't give Begins enough credit. I mean, I think it's probably the best origins movie ever made, in my opinion. And it just from beginning to end in The Dark Knight, it just takes you on a ride. And I just remember walking out of the theater, just going, "Holy shit!" So I was 19 at the time. Man, I'm getting old. And, but yeah, Nolan movies, like we always say to death, are probably the best some of the best well-made Batman movies.
Comic book movies in general.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna quit ranting. There's my list, and I'm gonna let you take over.
All right. Well, hey, I am. It's actually a very good list. Well spoken, well thought out. So I appreciate that. And I think one thing to note, even when I get into mine here in a second, I mean, I watch all of these movies all the time, regardless of how I'm ranking them. I think each one of them hits at a different spot, especially where you were in your life and when you saw it, you know, and being a kid watching Brockheimer films, you know, or not Brock, or what am I saying? Is it Brockheimer? Robin Forever and Batman and Robin?
I can't confirm. They might have been.
Oh, come on, Matt.
Oh, you're talking about Schumacher.
Schumacher, that's what I mean. Joel Schumacher. Yes. Excuse me, the Schumacher films, because obviously he did with those movies where, he wanted that kind of comic-y brightness and neon and stuff like that. And that was over the top. That was always his intention. But, growing up watching that as a young kid, I mean, that was awesome, So maybe they don't hold up today, maybe necessarily, but they're still enjoyable. And that'll actually, lead right into my list. The beginning 12 and 11 are Batman and Robin at 12, and then Batman Forever at 11. And that is only
holy shit.
Is simply just because they just don't hold up today. And the movies that have come out after them have been, I mean, they've just been better. I mean, but looking back at it, when I'm a kid, and I would, when we talked about in earlier episodes, nostalgia, looking at McDonald's, going to McDonald's with Batman Forever, marketing and just the toys, like unbelievable. I would go back to that and just pull up to McDonald's and get the glasses, if I could again.
Did you ride up there in your Huffy? Ching, ching.
Exactly. Yeah, right to the Palos Heights McDonald's. That wasn't working there then.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Not everything. Not yet. But yeah, I mean, those movies are a staple in my childhood, and they always will be. And I do actually go back and watch those every once in a while. And they transfer pretty well in 4K, so it's nice to see, especially with those colors in HDR popping. So number 10 is Lego Batman, though. I think it's great. It's going to be lower on my list, though, just because it's a cartoon. And I'm sorry, I know that you have much respect for the cartoon movies, and I do too. But the live action movies are most of the time are always going to, beat those. So, number 9 for me is Batman 66, though. I do enjoy the film quite a bit, as corny as it is, but I loved the show growing up. As a little kid, I was watching the show on repeat all the time. It's a unique. Adam West is funny. I mean, just that whole Batman 66 was, a time where Batman maybe was not taken as seriously. And then, like we had talked about on a previous episode, was when Neil Adams kind of stepped up around that time and put a little bit of, down to earth grittiness to Batman again, and took that joke side, that jokingly side.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Exactly. Shark repellents. I mean, come on. There's just so many great things in there.
It's good stuff.
So yeah, number 8 is actually Mask of Phantasm. I remember seeing it in theaters.
Whoa.
Yeah. Again,
it's interesting.
It's animated for me, so it's not going to be up there. It is a great film. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't hit for me like the live action overall do. This is gonna be interesting. 7 is Batman Returns.
This is wild shit.
Yeah, Return, and just because it's like, and the thing is Returns would have been way down on the list before, but like the Dark Knight trilogy takes up 3. You know what I mean? So and then again, growing up with that Batman Returns, I mean, it was awesome, but that is one I don't watch as much. Maybe I will. Usually I do watch it around Christmas time, though. So
I think you texted me last Christmas.
Yep. It's a great film, but again, it just at this current point, it's not one that I'm going to watch throughout the year. And the next 6 and below will be ones that I'll watch consistently over again. Number 6. Oh, Rob, it's going to be so mad, but it Begins. So Batman Begins is number 6. Great origin story, but there's things in the next 5 films that I'll just watch over and over again, which brings me to number 5.
You're telling me we're at number 6 right now, and there's
Batman
still
Begins,
no BVS.
Batman Begins is number 6. Batman vs Superman is number 5.
Oh,
and that is because, to me, as I said, I stated, I'm not sure if those are listening and remember on a previous episode, as soon as I sat in the theater and watched the beginning scene of Batman vs Superman, I said Rob is going to hate this film. But up until the Batman, the warehouse scene with Batman fighting the goons is the best Batman sequence ever in a Batman film. It is directly out of the Arkham games with the fighting style. And that was seriously, like, I'll watch that scene sometimes. And I like the thing is the extended cut is way better to me because also that nightmare scene is just badass. I don't care what anyone says. It doesn't make sense or anything, but it's just awesome. Batman's got an AK. Guys, you know, he's got an automatic rifle. Dude's just taking down Darkseid's oh god, what are they called now? I'm drawing a blank because I need to know their names. The
Parademons?
The Parademons, yeah. You know, when Superman's evil, it's kind of got that the video game, the Mortal Kombat DC video game feels to it. Injustice, because that's very Injustice like, and it's just, you know, post-apocalyptic, and it was just, I don't know, that really kind of did it for me. I thought it was really, really awesome. And I know, again, that movie isn't a perfect movie at all, but I think there's a lot of things from the Batman perspective that you could take and be like, and even seeing him in the armor from Dark Knight Returns is a staple, and it's just awesome to see that live on screen. But yeah, number 5. So it beats out Begins slightly, which I don't even know. They probably fluctuate sometimes. They're probably both at 5. So, but number 4 is The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, hell of a movie. That beginning scene, just that first hour, like you said, Rob, is unreal, and it has a good ending. And Bane is very, very well done. I think he is underrated as far as he's overshadowed in those movies because of, The Dark Knight. But yeah, it's a strong film, and I mean the fire marketing, you know, with the bat symbol on fire was great. And the poster that you almost killed yourself trying to hang in your old apartment, you know, I mean, that right there, you got to know he loves the film if he's putting weak tables and chairs on top of each other to try to hang it in a high wall. So I never forget when I walked in. I'm like, "Oh, it looks awesome." He's like, "Yeah, dude, you wouldn't believe how I got it up there, man. Like, I almost killed myself, dude." I'm standing on
like
this
a
table.
rock, I'm
standing on this table, and then I put this chair on there, and then it's like wobbling. And
I was 10 feet up in the air like this. They find my body 10 a week later. What happened here?
He was just trying to hang up his Batman poster. And it's funny, actually. One thing in my
was just
collection,
like Batman a lot, I guess.
One thing in my collection that I still don't have because it costs like $1,000 a frame is a cast sign poster from that movie. So
really,
yeah, because I don't want to get it. I don't want to put it in a regular frame. You know what I mean? I mean, it's got the WB stamp on there, so you know it's like a legit from the studio and everything. Yeah, but I have the cast sign poster from that film, and yeah, one day I'll have it framed in the office. But number 3, Batman '89. This was my real first introduction to Batman in live action, besides Adam West, but the more serious and gritty Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and your first real introduction to like a sadistic Joker, you know. And it was just awesome. And you know, Keaton was always just really cool. That was a big time for him. Damn, we got 10 minutes left only. You know, with Beetlejuice, I mean, yeah, it was just 90s was a great time. You know, obviously that's 89, but it's right there. And yeah, I can never forget that movie, as that was like my big intro into falling in love with Batman, you know.
Same.
Number 2.
Oh.
Robert Pattinson in the Batman.
Okay.
Maybe it was the low expectations going in, but it just blew me out on the water. I mean, like we've talked about, the movie's not perfect. However, the fight sequences, still to this day, I always think about him coming out of the shadows in the beginning of the movie.
As you like to refer to Vader walk.
Vader walk, yeah. It's epic. And even beginning very long Halloweenish, him journaling, talking about how shitty Gotham City is, and him walking in the rain. And he over exceeded my expectations for what that movie could be. So I'm excited for the second one, but I think it was a great beginning. And we didn't really have to worry about his origin story that's been told 1,000 times, so
like Spider-Man.
Yes, exactly. And then obviously number one, which I think is going to be number one on most people's list, is TDK. So, I mean, it was also a big part of our friendship, and it was really when we understood a lot more about Batman. So, and it obviously is a fantastic film, from beginning to end, and it is the Empire Strikes Back of Batman.
It is, yes.
So
and while now that we're on the topic real quick, I think why it's also so much better is we were living in Chicago as the film was happening, so it's kind of like a little sentimental more to us.
Yes,
it's just
yes.
40 minutes away downtown.
Yeah, and I mean, even still watching it, and you see, you're like, oh, I know exactly where that's filmed. It's pretty sweet,
right?
So that's it.
Now, if out of our both our lists, we both had number 3 and number 1 as the same.
All right, so we do have a decent combined list so far then, because 12 and 11 though, right? Batman and Robin and oh no, you put Batman Forever a little lower.
It was like 8. No. It was 7. Sorry.
Okay, so TDK is number 1 for us. So a combined list. I wonder if we put Batman 89 as our combined list number 2, since we both had it at 3.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have at 2?
Begins. Let's stretch on that one.
Well, not really. I mean, it is. It's so good, but
again, it's hard when you gotta put them in order.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this until I sat down to put them in order. I'm like, shit, this is hard.
Yeah, it is. You don't really think about it, and then when you start to digest and pick out like, oh, well, I really enjoy this. I mean, because even, I don't know, I hate even putting Batman and Robin and Batman Forever at 12 and 11, because like they could be in the middle, but someone's got to go at the end, I mean, yeah, no, Lego Batman at 10, I think is a good spot. It's a funny film. There's a lot of different nods to different
humor.
Batman things. Yeah. It's just a fun ride. So, but yeah,
that was fun and unique. We both had different perspectives, which is good. It would have been boring if we both had the same list. But then again,
that would have been wild.
Can you imagine if I put BVS as number 1? What?
That would have been the biggest curveball that I never would have called ever.
I really like the part in there where Jesse Eisenberg goes, "They're coming." Where Bucky says.
You know what? I'll tell you what. There's one other scene in there that I didn't mention that gets overlooked too, which is the after credits scene where Deathstroke actually comes in, which is awesome.
And that was just shitty that was never a follow-up, right? Like I'm not a big Ben Affleck Batman guy, but I would have loved to see him versus Deathstroke in its own movie.
Exactly. I mean, look at Arkham Origins, right? And remember
Mm.
that scene of them fighting?
That cinematic scene.
Yep.
Like, that's not even real people fighting. It's just graphics. But damn, I was watching it a few weeks ago, going, "This is incredible."
It was directed
Like that.
by the guy that did Deadpool, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Which is a weird thing, right? Because that wasn't even in the game. That was just like was it in the game?
No, I think it
Because
was in the
feel like
game
it came
because
out
you
before the
fight
game.
him. I
You're
think
right.
that happens. That scene happens right after you defeat him or whatever. After you, and then like the fight continues in cinematic form.
Okay. That was my least favorite game, just for the
Yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah.
Gameplay was like, you might as well call it Batman Origins semi.
You know what always was the hard thing? What happened?
You were frozen.
Oh, you were
for a
frozen on
second.
my end. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, the hard thing is like in Batman Arkham Origins, you have to come up with cool new like gadgets, even though it's from the past. You know what I mean? Like, so like
Yeah.
he's got to have cool gadgets, but yet the other games might not have as cool gadgets. And that's what always sucks about stuff like that. So I'm like, well, dude, I would have loved to use this in
Yeah.
like, Arkham Knight. But
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
was the thing they should have really played on. Like, they should have been like ghetto gadgets.
yeah.
Or,
Well, like kind of like what they did in the Batman with his gadgets, like he's not really sure how to use them. And he's like, well, hopefully this works. Rob, that was a cool little segment about the movie rankings. And like I said, I think we're going to revisit that as time goes on here and really see how different films kind of get switched around and where the rankings are. But very cool. We had a few on there that we had in the same spot. So that was always cool to see. And now we're going to get into our next segment, which is a weekly special, or not weekly, or episodic special segment, which is the Batman Who Collect. This week is kind of a light one. I know personally, I didn't really get anything bats related or anything in general. But Rob, you ended up coming across a stat you've been waiting for, eh?
Yeah. So I think the last episode or 2 episodes ago, I was talking about the Batman Who Laughs statue, and wow, it just so happened to get it in the mail. But so I got it from McFarlane Toys website. You can get it on Amazon right now. It's like $170. But damn, when you see this guy in person, like, it's nuts. The detail on it is nuts. I got it way up here. That's why I'm looking up here. But yeah, it was worth the wait. I think I ordered it 2 years ago. Well, it was announced 2 years ago. I pre-ordered it 5 months ago. But if you like the character at all, I think this is the best one on the market right now. Like I look at the other ones, I just don't care for any of them. A couple DC Directs, unless you want to pay $1,000 for the fancy ones. But I just don't think the cool pose. I like the face and the detail on this one. Not trying to sound biased, but I mean the other ones are just kind of goofy. They seem to announce a new statue every week of this character, which is it's probably because it's so popular that you and I made a podcast based off of him. So it's pretty neat. I'll put some video in post-production, but damn, super impressed. Glad I got it. And it's one of my favorites in my collection.
Good. No, that's awesome. And again, this is the DC Direct, correct?
And yes. So it's a DC Direct. McFarlane Toys, I think, has helped distribute it. So that's why I can get it off his website. It's also available on GameStop, McFarlane Toys, Amazon. So there's 3 spots you can get it at right there. So what are you waiting for? Just go get the damn statue, you SOBs.
What?
Sorry to be so harsh with the letters.
God damn, son. The fact of the matter is, Stone Cold Steve Austin. isn't gonna put BBS as number one. Ain't gonna happen, son.
Okay. Had to get that out of the way.
All right, cool. So
But yeah,
we'll go ahead and put some links in there, and then you'll have your picture and video of the statue. So that'll be exciting to see in post-production here. All right, we're going to move on into nostalgia. This week, we're going to talk about a toy line that I believe we both collected, which was Batman the Animated Series line. I think we're going to focus on Wave 1 because I think Wave 1 is, I mean, obviously was, to me, was the big one. This Wave 1 was Batman the Animated Series. This was a toy line made by Kenner. And look what we got there. Mr. Freeze. This animated series figure they released in from 1992 to 95. And Wave 1 consisted of Bats, Robin, Two-Face, and Riddler. And then from there, the line continued to get kind of crazy with, Combat Belt Batman and all these different kind of like camo Batmans and things like that. And they would come with like these goofy launch toys. Yes, there we go. Are these childhood ones or did you rebuy these somewhere?
Oh yeah. These are in a box I dug out.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome to see. Yeah, they you could see they had a lot of different interesting toys with them. I think that was what, a Turnbolt Batman or something. Yeah, there he is. There's like a Freeze Lightning Batman or whatever it was, dude. Oh man. One thing to note, there should have been a Penguin too, that he came with the shooting umbrella. Riddler, Two-Face. They did have the Batmobile and the Batwing, which were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to the store and, looking at these figures on the shelf and just being able to pick them up. And then, obviously the card was really awesome. It had the logo in the top left. It was a really open bubble card, so you could see everything. They had a like a comic image or show image right above where the figure was of them in like a dynamic pose or whatever. It's actually funny. I'm thinking about it now, like going to the WB store, they used to have like a wall where they were just all there. And obviously WB store probably, they charge a little bit more because you're at a premium, but I mean, you can still go to Toys R Us and find most of them. But I remember getting that Batman because the first Batman was like original, you could just have him in his regular suit because there were all those, like Rob showed up there, like there's all those original, like weird costumes that you never really see him in. And it was, for me, I was always just more attracted to him in his regular outfit because that's what you watched every day on the show. So, but yeah, beautiful line. Rob, do you have any?
I mentioned WB store to people and nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Taz right here. Tazzy with? I love Taz.
Right there.
I just got him.
This guy right here.
Bunnies.
Only $5.
Put all them right there. Foghorn Leghorn.
Isn't that sad?
That's so sad, dude. The WB store was one of the coolest places. Marvin Martian's little, like, remember that little spaceship you used to be able to go into as a kid?
Do not stop. What the heck is this?
All kinds of viciousness.
Morning.
Tell us of the Earth today.
Your cosmological. Energize.
That is a.
Boom. Zap. I don't know.
I just try to describe it to people. I'm like, you know, that store where the Gremlins were hanging up.
The Gremlins
What?
are hanging out. Yep.
Dude, so cool.
See, there, as weird as that sounds, that's like one thing I wish I could like go back and do. Just go walk around that store again, because there always used to be Batman the Animated Series like framed cell shades or cell parts from the animated series. You know, like it was awesome because they had that huge gallery wall on the back left of the store, and like they had all this Batman the Animated Series like original art, and it obviously was expensive, but it was, oh, man, you just wonder where all that stuff went, you know.
You know, no kidding. Like they also had those unique PVC statues you don't see anywhere anymore. I came and searched for that anymore.
Yeah, I think you could, every once in a while they pop up on eBay, because I think you and I looked at them before.
Probably that one Joker where he's like has his hand on his hip and he has his finger like this.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I can't believe they haven't brought a store like that back. It's just like shit. Everything is so watered down these days. It's just sad.
No, I agree. You know, that store was
the store.
Yeah.
It was a KB Toys, then it was WB.
Yep. And then it was cool because like that store was kind of in like the center of the mall, so it was like a pretty big store for being in a mall. You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Is that so? If we're talking about Orland Mall,
yeah,
is that where the Disney store is now?
I was gonna say, I think it's where the Disney store is. I think that's originally. I mean, I'm thinking the layout of the mall has changed quite a bit over the years, but I think that's where it was, if I remember correctly. Because I remember just having to go to the mall for something like with my parents, and I'd be like, yes, we could go to freaking WB store. You know, because you would always have something Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
always
something different. You know. But yeah, anyway,
if not, you can just hang out on the spaceship.
Exactly. They always had something going on or something to do. But yeah, but anyway, getting back to this toy line, it was, you know, obviously it was a staple. I'm pretty sure, as you have, we collected pretty much everything: Turbojet Batman, Combat Belt Batman, Robin, their Scarecrow. Now, is that the animated series, or is that the Adventures? Is that Batman Adventures?
This is the series, and
okay.
I don't know. Look at this! Whoa! Look at that shit.
They always had great little action poses or action things that they were able to do here. Yeah, there's Bane. You know, they had the Bat Cycle. They had Man Bat, Infrared Batman. Oh, there you go. You know,
you used to feel the fly.
Oh, dude, look at that. You know, Infrared Batman was always cool because he was just, it was a basic Batman figure in a red suit. And then, yeah.
Here's the child molester right here.
Ah, Mad Hatter. There we go. Youth
This
show
is actually
Bane.
From the Phantasm right here.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Phantasm figure. Amazing.
And then, of course, you know, I used to do all these different colors. So here's blue suit Joker.
Yeah, blue suit Joker. Weird. Yeah, you know, it was one of those. Do you have Catwoman? Because Catwoman was in there too. The gray.
I don't. I used to. Oh, I got this though. This is maybe. It's from like Phantasm right there.
That's awesome.
Now that we mention this, I gave you that jumbo size Joker.
Yes, sir.
And
I'll have to take a picture of that and put it in there.
I happened to buy from the company, and they gave me two. I was like, I don't need two, and they charged me for one. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna give it to somebody who would actually want it. So,
oh, dude, yeah, the thing is awesome.
It is, and it's cool because you can. I don't know if you mess with it, but the shell you can take off. So I think the one I gave you, the head is kind of like slightly tilted. So you can take off the shell easily, turn the head, and not have an issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always just I have it, you know, I'm not going to let that breathe. I think because that looks just awesome on card, you know.
Oh, yeah. And while we're on the toy line real fast, I'm gonna swerve. This is actually the ones that they had at McDonald's.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, when Happy
So you
Meal
got two
toys
through
used to be
there.
super awesome.
Hang on. Well, that's from the movie.
That
My
is
bad.
from the movie. Yeah.
And then it's little shit like this.
Dude, so sweet.
You can take the goddamn thing and just do that. Little things like that as a kid, right?
Yep.
Stupid
Well,
shit
because
like
you
that.
could even make like, you call them like your fig feds, you could have those like, let's say Batman needed to go ahead and chase, Two-Face. You can then take the figure out, put that little toy in there, get him in the car, and then have the Batmobile chase him in that, like, you make your own stories with that stuff. It was awesome. The animated series line continued for quite a bit, Clayface, again, and they kept making like these different looking characters, the basic characters in different outfits that you might have not seen them in. But then the line did change to Batman and Robin, the Adventures of Batman and Robin. That's actually where the first Harley Quinn figure was, which is pretty sweet. She came with like the gun and like the punching bag or whatever, like the that catapults out. So that was really cool. Again, these figures, like there wasn't anything special about them, but what was great was they looked like the characters from the cartoon, and that's all you wanted. They didn't have to do anything special. Like they were just, you could relive those moments from the series, wherever you play with your toys, and like, it was his exact representation. Then obviously, like I said, we loved Batman so much that they just kept coming out with different versions of that character, like in weird outfits, but you still wanted them. You're like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with infrared Batman, but I'll find something for him, But yeah, no, I mean, and then, like I said, the Batmobile was there, the Bat Cycle they came out with.
We lived in a time where it didn't break our parents' bank either. They were like $5-6 a pop.
That's that $5.99. They used to be $5.99, and then like you waited a little bit. KB Toys would always do that bin where they had like 2 for $10 or something. You know what I mean? Or Toys R Us something, and it was. I even look back even a few years ago. This is off subject to Batman, but like they used to open up at midnight when there was a Star Wars movie coming out, which they would release all the toys, and you would go in there and you would just buy all the toys from the new Star Wars movie before. And it was just like, dude, that was awesome. I remember going and spending like a couple $100 and getting the first wave of the Star Wars figures for the new movie coming out. Like,
dude, when Phantom Menace came out, that was just
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, because you had the Power of the Force line that just came out not too long ago, but now that, the Power of Force was just, the Hasbros of Star Wars. They were these pumped up, jacked versions of the Star Wars characters, but they were loved because you hadn't seen Star Wars toys in a long time. And then Phantom Menace came out and they had the chips with them, and then you would use that chip for them to talk. And like, obviously it was the first Darth Maul figure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely insane. You would go to Toys R Us, Target even did something at that time, like, and then all of a sudden everything was just like, all right, well, nobody cares anymore. So I don't know. It's stuff like that is just, you never
sometime
thought.
In like the late 2000s, like plastic just went up crazy. And that's when everything kind of went south.
Well, I mean, look at it. I mean, like a McFarlane figure at Target is what, $22.99?
I think that you're the one that told me that cost of plastic.
Yeah, cost of plastic kept rising. I mean,
today for just an action figure, for like a figure, for an action figure these days, it's like $25, at least by me.
Yeah, $24.99, $22.99, depending, for McFarlane DC. Even
couldn't have. I can't imagine. Like as a parent trying to buy that for their kid these days, like, oh, you want another one? I can't do that.
Well, just think about it. It's 5 times what it was when we were growing up. 5
5
times.
times.
Because I'm going to put it at 30 with tax, you know, so $6 when we were little. Now it's 24.99, probably $30. You know, 6 times 5 is 30. So yeah, I mean, right around $30 a figure. And that's the thing, like wrestling figures. I went to Omni by my house.
Omni.
They had a whole Hasbro section. Those were $4.99 each. Now,
hey, after Omni, did you go to Venture?
Oh yeah, oh dude, Venture was amazing. Well, because Omni was right next to Venture.
Yeah. So I'd say that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, exactly. You'd be like, oh man, well they didn't have the Hasbro's. Let's go to Venture. But think about that, like, so Hasbro's were $4.99. Now, Elite WWE Elite figures are at least $19.99. Ultimates are $25.99.
Jesus.
So,
and we're not that old, and it's gone up 5 times in the past 20 years. Wow. Some wild shit right there.
yeah, I mean, now again, here's the other side. So, I guess again, folks, we're getting a little bit off topic here with Batman, but the Elite figures are more of the adult collectors, but you could find them in Target, you know, in the regular, but they do have the basics, which are $10 to $12. So if you think about it that way, not too bad of a difference, but I don't know. I feel like most kids are still going to probably want the Elites for the most part.
Of course. Here's the thing though, it's like everything that coming out for kids now is just nostalgia stuff when we were kids. It's like how do you get behind something today as a kid when it's something that came out years ago? There's nothing current that's cool anymore. It's everything that was back then is cool.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Masters of the Universe, the He-Man, all that stuff is re-releasing now into like these new formatted figures that are like way cooler than the originals. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like when you go to Target, like you said, you go up and down the aisle. Most of it is just like rehashed stuff from when we were kids in updated figure format. Look at speaking of the animated series, what happened not too long ago? DC Direct came out, and even McFarlane came out with their own line of Batman the Animated Series figures. You know, updated, you know, with the new molds, and they look fantastic. You know, pricey, but I mean, even you holding up those figures in your hand just now, nothing beats those. And I think partly that's because of those are your figures. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, so a kid today is going down the aisle and be like, oh, yeah, let me grab this. Or let's say it's a Batman the Animated Series. One side of it is like, okay, well, maybe this child now will maybe want to watch the Batman the Animated Series and be like, oh, this is awesome, you know? And they actually enjoy the series, which they may have not known about without going down the aisle and seeing that. But yeah, I mean, there's not even a Batman cartoon anymore.
Yeah. You're right. It's just weird going into Target and seeing Jurassic Park stuff, you know.
Right.
Because and it's just I kind of look at that stuff because Jurassic Park movies don't come out every year. That's something that comes out sparingly. So I just kind of look at what's going on now. Like, what have they done to make these better than last time? I just like that they got more Dilophosaurus stuff out now. That's my favorite dinosaur. But like that, they always lack that dinosaur. Man, we are really off topic.
Yeah, well, hey, it's all right. Well, it's the Batstalgia, so there's going to be nostalgia in it in general. Well, you know what's funny though is like I see a lot of the Jurassic. Is it Jurassic Dominion now? Is that what the latest one is? But I see a lot of it on discount already. You know what I mean? Like some of it, like in the shelves they're already putting it on discount. That's the thing too. Like, I don't know if you guys notice it out by you, but if this shit's not hitting off the shelves, they're putting discounts on it right away. Try to get rid of it, you know, which is good if you're in the long game for some of these figs, because you could be like, okay, well, I based on my area, I'm pretty sure no one's going to buy these figures, so I can hold off on them, you know, because I mean, even the Batman McFarlane stuff by me, you're starting to see a little bit of discount on.
It's very tricky because you never know what's going to be hot and not. Like 2 years ago, I picked up a Deathstroke, still in the package, never opened it up. And I see on eBay now it's like 60, $70. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll sell this.
Mm-hmm. Well, because even the stuff that you do get on discount, like for whatever reason, if you ended up playing the long game and then you get it on discount and then it ends up selling out or whatever, like for whatever reason, people want that figure later on, and you got it at like a cheap cost, and now you're like, well, I only bought this because it was cheap, and I didn't think, and then you look at it on eBay, it's like $80. You're like, geez, wild.
It is wild.
But yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for the Batman the Animated Series line. Obviously, Rob, in post-production, we'll go ahead and have some studio photos of the actual line, but then also I would be cool to mix some of your figures in there so you could see. Just
one thing I want to mention real fast.
No.
So this is no, okay.
Okay.
So we all know Hamill did Joker, right?
Yeah.
For animated series. But here's what I didn't realize till a few years ago. At the same time, he was doing Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin for Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. I did not know that. That's pretty awesome.
This had nearly the effect of this.
Oh, heck no.
And I only realized that because when they put Spider-Man on Disney Plus, I rewatched the whole entire series. I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. Sure enough, I looked it up. Holy shit.
That's pretty awesome. Well, that actually helps right into the next segment, huh? With Batpedia for fun facts of Batman. That is interesting. Did not know that. So folks, you heard it here first from Rob. Mark Hamill, dual voices for a couple of your favorite cartoons growing up.
Very first time.
So here's a weird, interesting fact that about our beloved Bats. He was originally a gun-toting vigilante who would not only shoot his enemies, but throw them in vats of acid, break their necks with karate kicks, and hang them from his bat plane.
Say what?
Yeah. Yeah. The original play for the Batman there. But it looks like it changed a little bit over the years.
Just a little bit.
And did you know that Batman once tried to become Green Lantern, but could not overcome the fear of losing his parents?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
So I think that's pretty interesting.
The more you know.
That's what you should do as the intro to that.
Should, right?
Yeah.
Till we get copyrighted.
Yeah, that's all right. But yeah, do you have any other interesting facts?
Oh yeah. So we got here is, you probably knew this already, but other people don't know. Is that, did you know that when Jason Cod, wow, he's a fish. He's half Robin, half fish. Did you know when Robin was killed off? Jason Todd, Robin, it was by popular vote.
Oh yeah, I mean, they were so annoyed by that character that they wanted him to be gone.
So the death of Jason Todd via crowbar in 1988 was one of the great shockers of comic history. But did you know that it was decided by the fans? DC Comics decided the outcome by running a call-in poll to see if Bat fans wanted Jason to live or die. 5,271 call votes for him to live. 5,343 voted for him to die. Poor Robin.
Jeez. And it was a brutal way to go.
And it's really bad because you're just reading it. It's not like you're watching it and being annoyed.
Yeah.
Damn. So, little fun fact there. And then I'll throw another one on you. Did you know, because I didn't know this, that when Bale did you know Bale's voice was enhanced post-production? I thought it was just on screen him doing that voice, but according to this, it says Nolan post-production he just added more growling to it.
Yeah, more bass almost. I do know that I did not know that they did that to Batman, but I do know that they did that to Bane. Because if you remember, we watched the IMAX preview of that movie, and you couldn't. It was just like you like you really could not understand. I'm like, holy shit, that sucks. Like, dude, this. I mean, he looks awesome, but I can't understand a damn thing he's saying. And then obviously when the movie came out and that opening scene was there, it was like, oh, that's clear.
It's good that they did that, right? Because it's kind of like a what you call it, not a whatever, that they show fans a full movie and then they give their feedback. So it was kind of like that, but it was just one scene. So people were able to digest that and say, hey, we can't understand Bane. Might want to do something about this.
You know, and then when you watch it, it was like, why would anyone shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane? Like, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, that's a great line.
Yeah, thank God they did that, because I think that would have killed the whole movie if they would have kept it the way it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like you said, like kind of like a preview audience, you know, preview film audience or whatever. He got that feedback right away and was like, oh yeah, we definitely need to fix that. And he may have known that going in, but they were like, well, this is why it's only a preview of it, and it gives people, you know, something to look forward to for the actual finished film, you know. So.
Oh, I'm looking at my list right now, and I just realized we didn't put The Killing Joke on here because we've seen it in theaters. I want to move that.
Yeah.
I want to move that to number one because Batman had sex with Batgirl on top of her roof for no reason.
Oh man, that was a Bruce Timm's idea too, bud.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow. I have not gone back to watch that movie because of that scene. Just fucking pissed me off so bad.
You know, it's one of those things where you just need to upload the Blu-ray onto your machine, your computer, and then just edit that scene out. You know what I mean? And then blend it in with something else. And then you can watch the movie anytime you want. Because I often like it. There's always so many movies where you're like, man, if this scene wasn't in there, it would just be so much better. Like even doing that Batman vs Superman with Martha, just cut over to the next scene when they're just partners. You don't even know how.
Yeah. Well, I heard if you watch Killing Joke back that you can just, if you start at, I think, exactly 30 minutes, that's when, you know, the actual portion starts of the book where he's in asylum. Yeah. You can actually watch that movie actually and start at 30 minutes exactly and not even see the whole backstory of the Barbara Gordon. Yeah. So I kind of just solved my own problem.
There you go. All right, folks. Yeah. I think that's going to wrap it up for us on this episode of the Batman Who Pod, the Phantom Batman, episode 4. And make sure to like and subscribe to hear us talk about all things bats, because when that bell notification hits,
it's just not a conversation.
It's a podcast. We'll see you later, folks. Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.